In the vast ocean where the waves never rest, hundreds of fishing boats leave the dock one after another in the dim light of dawn, carrying with them hopes, aspirations and beliefs in a bountiful harvest. On those boats, tough men with tanned skin and wind-tanned faces are entering the vast ocean to do a special job, catching squid with hundreds of fishing poles. A manual but extremely effective method that requires skill, perseverance and courage. The method of catching squid with fishing poles is not new. But it is one of the oldest traditional techniques and still exists today thanks to its efficiency and biosafety. Fishing poles are long fishing rods with special squid hooks attached, capable of attracting squid thanks to the light and movement of the fake bait. Each ship can be equipped with dozens to hundreds of fishing rods arranged along both sides of the ship, forming a dense battle, like an artificial squid fishing forest floating in the middle of the ocean. At night, when the sun has set and darkness covers the sea, the squid begin to surface to hunt for prey. The high-power light bulbs hanging on the ship are turned on, emitting a dazzling white light, which has a special attraction for squid. Hundreds of rays of light intertwine with each other, reflecting on the water surface to create a brilliant area of light in the middle of the pitch-black sea, a perfect trap. When the squid begin to gather around the ship, the fishermen stand at each position, each controlling a number of fishing rods, and begin their work. They do not have to wait long. When the squid attacks the bait, the fishing rod jerks strongly, signaling that there is a fish. The fisherman immediately pulls the fishing rod up into his hand, using skillful and powerful movements to bring the squid out of the water. The squids, with their long, shiny bodies and silvery white color, thrash about in the air before being dropped into a large container or ice tank on the boat. The splashing sound, the clashing of the fishing poles, the shouting, the bustling footsteps, all create a symphony in the middle of the ocean. A night of squid fishing can last from 6 p.m. to 4 to 5 a.m. the next morning. Each squid wave is so large that, in just a few hours, the whole boat has collected hundreds of kilograms, with a fishing trip lasting several days to a week. The total yield can be up to several tons of squid, an unimaginable number for manual methods. Catching squid with fishing poles requires good coordination between crew members. Each person has their own role: the light keeper, the hooker, the rigger, the squid sorter, the freezer. The work is continuous, with no time to rest. Just 1 minute of carelessness, the squid can slip off the hook. Or worse, the person pulling the net can get black ink sprayed in the eyes. Slip and fall, or even get injured by the net rope wrapping around them. However, no one complains, because they clearly understand that this is life, work, and pride for fishermen. One of the special features of squid fishing with nets is the process of processing the squid right on the boat. After being pulled up, the squid will not be left in the air for long. Fishermen quickly bring them into the processing compartment. Here, workers start cutting off the head and intestines, taking out the ink sac, cleaning the squid body, and then putting it in the freezer or freezing it directly. This work must be done quickly and neatly, because if left for too long, the squid will spoil, losing quality and economic value. After being processed, the squid will be divided into many types: whole squid, cleaned squid, cut squid, or just tentacles, depending on the consumer market. The product will be packaged according to different standards. Some places require vacuuming. Some places need to keep the fresh form. The highest quality squid will be sold at very high prices, mainly exported to Japan, Korea, Europe, strict markets but always thirsty for fresh products from the sea. Each ship is a miniature factory. From catching, handling, processing to preservation, everything is done in a closed system right on the deck. Modern technology helps shorten the freezing process, ensuring that the squid remains fresh. But above all, it is the hands of the fishermen, their resilience and perseverance that create that invaluable value chain. Because without people willing to drift for many days at sea, struggling with big waves and strong winds, there would be no fresh squid on every family's dining table. Many times, ships have to face storms at sea. At that time, all activities had to stop. All personnel focused on fixing the equipment, keeping the ship balanced. Sometimes they could not sleep all night. Sometimes they could not catch a single catch of squid for a whole week. At times like that, only faith and solidarity could help them survive. And when the storm passed, the sea was calm. That was when the fishing poles were lowered again, continuing the journey to bring fish and squid from the ocean back to the mainland. On shore, every time a ship docks, hundreds of baskets of squid are unloaded onto the wharf. Traders, seafood processing plants, and even small traders quickly come to buy. The squid is brought to the factory for further processing, sorting, packaging, and shipping everywhere, thanks to the development of the processing industry and modern logistics chains. Squid can reach consumers just a few days after being caught, still retaining its freshness, sweetness, and characteristic sea flavor. But no one understands how much sweat and tears are behind each squid. It is sleepless nights, calloused hands, times of being sprayed with black ink, times of being stabbed by hooks, and moments of life and death in the middle of the ocean. They, the fishermen who catch squid with fishing poles, are symbols of courage, diligence, and perseverance. Nowadays, as technology develops, many people still choose the fishing method with fishing poles instead of using trawls. Because of its sustainability, this method selects squid by size, limits the catching of small fish, protects marine resources, and especially, maintains the highest quality of squid after catching. This is also the reason why squid caught by fishing poles often have higher prices and are more popular in the international market. The life of fishermen is not easy. They face risks every day. Have to be away from their families for weeks, months, but they still love their job, are still attached to the sea, still stand steadfastly on the deck, in the cold nights, pulling each squid from the deep sea to the light, because for them, the sea is not only a place to make a living, but also a second home, a place to train the will and courage of a lifetime. as the first light of dawn began to flicker on the horizon. The last fishing poles were pulled up, and iceboxes full of squid were carefully stowed in the deep freezer. But the journey at sea was not over yet. With a new breeze blowing across the deck and the sea gradually calming down after a night of bustling squid fishing lights, the ship prepared for a new mission, switching to catching tuna and sea bream, two rare and highly valuable fish species. Using hundreds of hooks attached to long fishing lines. This fishing method is called longline fishing, an ancient art that still holds true today. Fishermen use fishing lines several kilometers long, with hundreds, even thousands of sharp steel hooks attached to them, each at a certain distance apart. The bait is small fish, herring, and shredded squid, lightly salted to retain the natural fishy smell. Creating an attraction for tuna and sea bream, the high-level predators in the ocean food chain. The entire crew takes their positions again. One person operates the line throwing machine, another stands to spread the bait, and the supervisor closely monitors each section of line to ensure it does not tangle. Hundreds of hooks are dropped into the water in a rhythmic, precise manner, forming a giant hunting net. The ship moves slowly along fishing grounds that have been marked by experience and modern positioning systems, where millions of tuna and sea bream migrate seasonally. Tuna often bite strongly and unexpectedly. They are extremely fast swimmers, and can rush into the bait like a live arrow. When the first fish is hooked, the line is taut, followed by a signal whistle. The fishermen immediately run over and start pulling the line. This is the most stressful moment, because tuna can weigh up to hundreds of kilograms. With an extremely strong pulling force, the person pulling the line must have high skills, coordinate well with teammates to avoid injury, not let the line break, and ensure that the fish does not fall. The sound of the line whistling in the air, the sound of the fish struggling in the water, each wave splashing when the fish rises above the sea surface, all create a wild and fierce picture of the ocean. Bluefin tuna, yellowhead sea bream, one by one are pulled onto the deck amid excited cheers. There are times, in an hour, dozens of large fish are hooked at the same time, making the whole ship bustling like a real battlefield. The person holding the line, the person swinging the hook, the person helping to pull, the person collecting the fish, all blend in the smell of sweat, fish blood and salty seawater. Unlike squid, tuna and sea bream need to be processed very quickly after being caught. They are bled immediately to keep the meat white and fragrant, then washed with cold seawater, put in deep ice boxes or frozen. As for special bluefin tuna, some are marked to keep their shape, ensuring that they are brought to the Japanese market in the most perfect condition. Some tuna are sold for up to hundreds of millions of dong, a worthy reward for days drifting on the open sea. The longline fishing method not only helps catch fish effectively but also ensures natural selection. Targeting only large enough fish. limiting the wrong capture of juvenile fish, young fish or unwanted marine life. This is a technique encouraged in the current sustainable fisheries industry, contributing to protecting marine resources for future generations. Day after day, fishermen still repeat that journey, catching squid at night, fishing during the day, calloused hands, sunburned backs, eyes sparkling with faith in the middle of the ocean. All have created a beautiful symbol of courage and endless desire to make a living in the middle of the ocean. No machine can replace the experience of the fisherman. No technology can replace the intuition and experienced eyes of the fisherman who has lived his whole life on the water. And so, under the vast sky, amidst the ocean waves, the fishing boats continue their journey, continue to catch each squid and fish, entrusting the hope and faith of countless families waiting on land. A harsh but proud life. A story about the sea, not only fish and squid, but also the strong vitality of people who do not yield to nature. After many hours of struggling with the waves and each ferocious fish of the ocean, the ship finally lowered the throttle, anchored in the middle of the calm sea to begin an equally important stage, processing and preserving the fish right on the ship. At this time, the sun was high, the light was shining on the slippery deck, where the silvery bluefin tuna bodies were still wagging their tails. Without a moment's rest, the fishermen were busy transferring the fish to the processing area. On the ship, a special compartment was reserved for processing the fish. The master workers used specialized knives to bleed the fish, cut the tendons to make the fish die quickly and avoid the accumulation of lactic acid in the meat, an important step to keep each piece of fish meat smooth, white and not fishy. The fish blood was washed away with cold seawater. The fish was dried with specialized towels and quickly put into the freezer. For type A tuna, with a body length of over 1.5 meters, they are arranged separately, marked with a code and placed in deep freezer compartments of -60 degrees Celsius to preserve their freshness and prepare for export. Sea bream, although not as large as tuna, also needs to be carefully processed. After cleaning and scaling, the fish are classified: Type A for fresh export, Type B for fillet processing. The rest are put in salt tanks or vacuum packed to be transferred to the factory on shore. Fish with signs of scratches or heavy blood loss will be separated for processing into fish cakes, dried fish or fish sauce. The preliminary processing work is relentless. Amidst the heat and the strong smell of fish blood, the fisherman's sweat mixes with the seawater, flowing along the curves of the slippery deck. But no one complains. They understand that every minute that passes is a penny that can be lost if the fish is not processed properly. For them, each fish is a part of their livelihood, a part of their sweat, and also a part of their honor. After a few days of catching and freezing enough fish, the ship turned back to the mainland. When the ship docked, a completely different atmosphere prevailed: busy, bustling, and hurried. Refrigerated